Right now on Up with KREM, Washington state lawmakers pushing for a new bill to help healthcare professionals.
We're waking up to another round of patchy fog and a gloomy Monday. I'll let you know when this weather pattern finally breaks.
Because I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
We're honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. all morning long right here on Up with KREM.
Spokane did okay. They will look a little different without the parade, but there are still plenty of ways you can celebrate. I'll give you a whole list coming up.
Up with KREM begins now with Tim Pham, Channing Curtis, and Jeremy Legoo.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis.
Glad to have you here with us, and happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, everyone. I'm Tim Pham. All right, so we saw some fog over the weekend, of course, and there's still some fog this morning in parts of the inland northwest. So we want to get a check of the forecast because things are going to warm up, which is some great news.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go ahead and send things right outside to meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. So, Jeremy, what does the forecast have in store for us this week?
A whole lot of the same. We're kind of in this weather pattern that doesn't offer us much of a change. The bit of a change we get is we're going to see the chance for a couple of sprinkles, and that's really about it. Right now, it was some dense fog out near the airport. We're starting to see that improve slightly. Here on the South Hill, I'm seeing improvements in visibility as well. We do still have some clouds overhead. And as we move through the day, we've got a weak little wave of energy moving through that's going to bring us more cloud cover and then the chance of a couple of sprinkles. Visibility still down to about a quarter of a mile out in Airway Heights. You're still looking at a drop in visibility between Coeur d'Alene and Sandpoint, and then even as you work your way up and over Snoqualmie, you're running into some clouds, and then down through the Tri-Cities as well. Temperatures are in the 20s though. We're another cool start to the day, and we're kind of in this weather pattern. Overnight lows fall down below freezing, highs during the day climb up above it, and with melting and low atmospheric moisture still lingering, it's likely we hang on to the fog. And in some areas, that's freezing fog, and that includes Interstate 82 from about Kittitas County down into northern Oregon, even into the Blue Mountains. You're seeing some of that as well. But look, we've got some decent cloud cover up overhead, so you're not really seeing too much. And along with that comes some of that fog and catching a couple breaks in the fog. But I do think you might see a little bit of sun today. But then what winds up happening is we build the clouds. We get that little sweep of moisture. Notice it's kind of weak in nature, but once it moves out, we'll see another peak of sunshine before it goes down tonight. So it's really all about timing your time outdoors. That's the way I'm looking at the next couple of days because, you know, we go through the day, it's basically foggy or low-hanging cloud cover. You get into the evening, you might catch a little sun before it goes down for the night.
Next week, National Guard members will assist several Washington hospitals because there is a critical staff shortage. State lawmakers in Olympia introduced 2 bills to help keep people in the healthcare industry. The bills would change the way hospitals treat their staff by limiting how many patients can be assigned to a nurse as well, and the bill also bans that required overtime. Unions like the proposal, while the Washington State Hospital Association says they do have some concerns.
This bill would be imposing more limits and constraints on our ability to stretch staff so that they can serve patients in these really challenging circumstances instead of providing more flexibility.
A public hearing on the House bill is set for Wednesday.
Now looking ahead, Spokane Public Schools will be closed tomorrow due to staffing shortages brought on by COVID. SPS says schools are having a large number of staff members absent every day. And with public health officials believing the Omicron surge will peak sometime next week, they want to prepare. So SPS will not offer morning or afternoon childcare tomorrow. Sports and other extracurricular activities will also be adjusted. And later this month, students will also likely be out of school on Monday, January 24th. The district does plan to let parents know no later than this Thursday if that is the case.
This is adjusting the school calendar, postponing those student days to March that were previously planned as non-student days, which will enable us to have some additional time to bring staff back from quarantining as well as catch up with contact tracing.
This announcement follows several schools in our area deciding to postpone their rivalry basketball games at the Spokane Arena to February. And the Coeur d'Alene School District is also preparing for possible temporary closures due to COVID-19 related staffing shortages. Last Thursday, 104 of the district's 600 teachers were absent and only 60% were covered by a substitute. The district superintendent says they will try to remain open with these shortages, but parents should be prepared for school closures. Some schools may need to switch to remote learning for a short time if they're unable to resolve the shortages. The remote learning could last from a few days to a week or even longer. In order to keep schools open, the district is requesting that parents keep students at home when they're sick, and they strongly recommend wearing a mask.
The Zags will play on Thursday after all. They originally postponed their game against the Pacific Tigers due to COVID issues with the Pacific team. The Zags are taking advantage of the postponement to reschedule San Francisco, who they were supposed to play back on January 6th. And good news for ticket holders for that game, you'll be able to use your ticket to go to Thursday's game. So we know this is a lot of information and we know things are changing every day. So for the very latest, just text the word COVID to the number 509-448-2000. We'll send a link to your phone. It is time now for your morning rush. More news in less time.
About 1,400 Washington residents will have their student loan debt erased. Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson settled a $1.7 billion lawsuit against student loan lender Navient. Years ago, that is. About $35 million is coming to Washington borrowers, and on average, each will receive $25,000 in debt relief.
When long-term borrowers who are in a financial distress would reach out to Navient looking for assistance, what Navient did was deceive them.
Now, if you're one of the people who took out a loan through Navient between 2002 and 2014, you don't have to do anything. You'll get notified by Navient, and if you've paid them anything since July, that will be reimbursed.
RVs have taken over the inland Northwest. Today is the last day for the National RV Show at the Spokane Convention Center. The show organizer says RV sales increased 30% since the start of the pandemic. And then starting Thursday, the Spokane Fairgrounds will host the Inland Northwest RV Show through January 23rd.
Well, today would have been Betty White's 100th birthday. To celebrate and honor her life, O'Donnell's Pub on Monroe Street is having Golden Girls trivia all day. They're also selling a double chocolate raspberry cheesecake where all of the proceeds will go to a local pet rescue in Betty's name. They'll also be donating $5 for every shepherd's pie sold.
Happening today, all state and national parks will be free for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Today is the perfect time for you to get outside and enjoy the outdoors across the inland Northwest. You don't need a Discover Pass to enjoy them, and that's a look at your morning rush.
Justice at its best is love correcting everything that stands against love. That's by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Today is his day, and all morning long on Up with KREM, we're honoring Dr. King's legacy. Nicole Hernandez is joining us live this morning at the MLK Center in East Central with more on how you can celebrate the holiday.
Good morning, Channing. So of course today will look a little bit different than normal because our traditional MLK Day parade is canceled, but there's still plenty of ways for all of us to celebrate and remember Martin Luther King Jr. So one of those ways is by donating food. Gather your friends, family, and come together to donate food to the MLK Center. They say that really helps out. The things they specifically need right now is brown rice, whole wheat pasta, and whole wheat bread. So the MLK Center actually put together an entire list of things and ways that we can celebrate today. You can put together winter packages to donate. Those are full of winter essentials like gloves, socks, and hats. There's also a virtual Run for Justice 5K you can sign up for online. Another way to celebrate today, also flipping on Netflix or Hulu. There's a bunch of documentaries and shows you can watch about MLK's legacy, or head to the bookstore. You can buy a book about MLK to read or donate. The MLK Center says the donations are a huge help today, but they really need help year-round.
We're here 365 days a year, so you just don't have to get involved on MLK Day. You have several different opportunities to support the organization throughout the years and years to come.
That was Frida Gandy there speaking, and she will also be speaking at Gonzaga's virtual event today. That's another thing happening today. It's called, quote, A Dream Remembered, the Past, Present, and Future of Black Excellence. Now that virtual event does start today at 12:30, goes until 1:30. There will be both speakers and performances. Live in Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
Now, because it is a federal holiday, some reminders as to what's open and closed. Post offices, libraries, banks, and government offices will be closed. Most public transit will operate on either a Sunday or a holiday schedule. Garbage will be picked up as usual, and places like malls, grocery stores, and restaurants will be open.
So if you do want a full list of how you can honor and celebrate MLK Day, just text the letters MLK to the number 509-448-2000. We'll send a link right to your phone.
Now, MLK Day arrives amid frustration over voting rights bill.
Yeah, so Democratic lawmakers will mark the holiday having come up short on a promise to vote on a Senate rule change aimed at ushering through a key voting rights bill. The law would make Election Day a federal holiday. It would also require states to allow early and mail-in voting.
19 states have passed legislation making voting harder, including placing limits on drop boxes. The Senate is expected to take up the House-passed bill on Tuesday. The United States is seeing a record number of positive COVID-19 cases, but those numbers could actually be even higher. The reason? At-home COVID testing.
And the one thing you need to know? More of the same. We're waking up to a little bit of patchy fog, and as temperatures climb during the day, yeah, we're going to melt more of it, but kind of hang on to the clouds throughout it. It's another one of those gloomy days.
Time for your wake-up call on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This morning, we want to know, how are you serving the community? Or maybe you can even let others know about some community service projects that we can all join in on. You can text us those at 509-448-2000 or by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media.
But first, here's a live look outside. We say good morning to you, Inland Northwest. Happy Monday. Let us know where you're watching from. We're so glad you're starting your day with us.